What's good, Internet? My name is attackslug, and welcome to Xenoraid from 10 Tons. As always, full disclosure, this copy of the game was provided to me by the publisher, which might be kind of obvious considering this game is not out yet. This is a preview beta build of this game. It is coming in the next, 2 months or so, by the end of the year, I think is the idea. This is on Steam, but it's also coming to Xbox and PS4. Is my understanding. It is a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up, aka a shmup, but it is not really in the sense that you might know of. So I'm going to hop in here to my current game. This does have some kind of a multiplayer component I'm not going to get into here, but I am on Mars, or I'm heading towards Mars, and I'm going to hop into where I currently am. This game is somewhat procedurally generated. And if you've seen videos from me covering 10-ton games before, I just did a bunch of videos on Neon Chrome somewhat recently, which I like a whole lot. There is some story stuff in here about what we're doing, and the attack of the aliens, and that kind of stuff, but obviously the gameplay here is the important part, and it's going to take me a little bit to explain all the different things that are in this game. So, you've got a tech lab, that gives you kind of overall perks during your run, and I've kind of bought most of the ones that I care about that I can actually afford right now. Obviously, you have locked ones that are going to be unlocked in, as you progress through the main campaign. So, you also have your fighter bay, and your fighter bay is where you, repair your ships and add more individual perks to individual ships, but which you can lose. They can be destroyed, and then you gotta buy new ships if you have the money. So money, very important as you're running through the campaign. The different campaigns here seem kind of self-contained in how they in the progression. So once you finish that first batch of missions, what you had there does not carry over to the second batch of missions, and so on and so forth. But enough of that. Let's hop in here. This should be hard, so I should die, and I'll probably head back to the very beginning so I can explain things while also trying to play at the same time. So yes, this is a shmup, but as you will notice here, there is an angle at which you are laying down the shots. So, the thing with this genre is that for the casual player, all those games I would imagine kind of seem the same. So, going from, say, a Gradius to an R-Type to any of the cave games, all of those bullet hell shooters, etc., those are all, Ikaruga, those are all vastly different. If you actually get into the mechanics. So this, not really much in the sense of a traditional shmup, because you've got a bunch of different things in here. A, there's no one-hit kills. You have a health bar. B, you're changing between 4 different ships, and the reason you do that is because A, they have different loadouts, but B, your guns, your weapons, the main things you do, the shooting in the shmup part of the equation, they overheat. And that, I know immediately, is going to turn a lot of folks off who are perhaps diehards of the genre. Personally, it's a thing you adjust to. I don't mind it that much. They give you a pretty good indication of when you're overheating, and there are some gameplay components to go along with that. Now, there are things in this game that I like, and there are things that I don't particularly care for. I think that it would be cool if you had a power-up at some point that, certain enemies would drop, especially the bigger enemies, that would reduce your overheating, in real time, instead of having to wait for it to drain. Like, say, if you killed a big dude, he would have a power-up, and you get that, and then you immediately have, low heat on your gun. But, again, the idea here is to constantly switch out between your ships here, and they all have different benefits to doing that. Now, my other complaint, just to get in here into some of the complaints off the bat, is sometimes, because this is procedurally made, you will end up with stages that have a lot of asteroids. And I mean a lot of asteroids. I found the asteroids, the avoiding the asteroids while still trying to shoot all of the enemies' gameplay has not been fun. And I only say that because the asteroids do a lot of damage. Like, I've knocked into an asteroid before, once or twice, and I'm at half health. That seems a bit too much. Perhaps if the asteroids did less damage to your ship when you knocked into them, and obviously, certainly, this is a beta, so, these things can change between now and when the game comes out, but it's more enjoyable when the asteroids are sporadic. When the RNG factor of the game says, hey, here's a lot of fucking asteroids, that's not as much fun, because you're spending more time dodging shit than you are actually killing the enemies, and that is unfortunate. Now, it's not going to show here, because I actually went in and sold and rebought, but there are bigger class ships that you can get, and obviously those have different loadouts, different weapons, and I found certainly the bigger class ships that you can get as the player. There's a big old fucking asteroid. The bigger class ships that you can get as the player, I've found to be not as fun to play. Not because of they're slower, just because, again, the asteroids. It is way harder to avoid all the damn asteroids as a bigger ship. And you just end up taking a bunch more damage, and, you know, it's not that I can't do it, it's that I found it to be less appealing. But, even as someone who does appreciate the core shmup stuff, this is still fun to play. It still feels good to play. The movement feels good. The progression that I've seen so far, I'm not 100% sold on. I do like it, but when you finish out the first area, and you move on to the second area, and it gives you all new ships, and it gives you all new, you know, like all your perks are reset, that's kind of frustrating. So, perhaps a mode that just, you know, lets you go through an entire run from the beginning, where you keep all that stuff, might be interesting. You're finishing an area, that you know, there should be a sense of accomplishment there, not, hey, here's a new area, it's harder, and you're back to square one. That seems weird. Like, I'm not saying keep all the money, but it seems weird to do it like that. So, we finished a round there. See, that guy got promoted. Perhaps all I does is just more money, and that's fine. Like, if it's just more money, I don't mind that. But you lose all that stuff once you go on to the next thing. So, here we have some more story here. And it's basically, hey, humans and aliens and all that good stuff. And you see here, it has, you know, the amount of enemies you're going to fight, what the difficulty is going to be, the asteroid prevalence. And so you head back to the tech lab here. I got $1,400 to spend. I can pick up some countermeasures. Or, actually, before you even want to go into the tech lab, if you're going to head into another mission, you definitely want to head into the fighter bay here and heal up. So, hit this little wrench here and get your health back is super important. So I'm going to get some more rocket fragments. That seems like a good use of my money. Some more of that. And then, personally, I always keep a little bit of money with me going into the next mission, because you never know if you're going to have, you know, a ship get destroyed and have to buy a new ship for X amount of dollars. So, that being said, we're going to keep our money as it were. We're going to head into one more mission here, and then perhaps wrap up this video. So, it took me a little while to adjust to the gameplay. As someone who's just used to playing classic and traditional shmups, like, I think having the enemy patterns be randomized, I think, is interesting, because what happens in, you know, the usual shmup gameplay is what you end up doing is memorizing a lot of the bullet patterns. Or, you know, you're essentially just doing a bunch of memorizing, and that's how you do those one-credit clears and that kind of stuff. This game, you can't memorize, so it is... I hate the big guys. It is solely you reacting to the game, you know, in real time, and not having to, you know... It's not a muscle memory deal, it's you're reacting as it's happening, because you can't predict what's going to happen. Now, whether or not people who are, you know, very big into the genre are going to find that fun or not, I don't know. But as someone who was never really good at those games, I think certainly I am better off with reflexes than I am in memorizing bullet patterns, and I am not good at games that do bullet hell, etc., etc. So, certainly this is... it has that appeal of those old games like R-Type and like Gradius and Life Force and that kind of stuff, you know, like, I get that. I understand the origins of what would have inspired a game like this, and taking some more modern gameplay conceits and having those get filtered in here is pretty cool. But some of those big, these big spaceships are fine to fight, but some of them will A, have shields that regenerate, and I fucking hate that. but B, they will also shoot smaller enemies out their ass. And it's like, look, I'm just trying to finish the stage. Stop adding more enemies to the fucking fire here. That's just kind of obnoxious. But that's just me. That seems, you know, obviously an intentional bit of game design. But it's like, I'm trying to finish the stage and it's just making it take longer and longer and longer. You do have a secondary weapon here. Each ship has you know, each class of ship has their own secondary gun or, you know, rocket or whatever. But as you can see here, it takes a little bit to knock out these bigger ships. I'm all out of ammo on that one, so let's just wait here. And yeah, he's got his fucking shields, and you're just gonna keep on hitting him with what you can hit him with, and it's just kind of obnoxious. But, you know, that's the challenge. Like, I don't have any problem with the challenge of the game. I haven't made it past, you know, this second set of missions yet, but it's alright. I will certainly play more of this. I put in about 2 hours thus far, and I've enjoyed what I've played of this mission stuff. So we've got 41. We got a bunch more enemies to kill here. I'm trying to think of what else is in this game that I can explain to you guys to kind of better. I can explode to better enunciate my feelings on it. I think overall I really enjoy it. There are obviously a few nitpicks here or there, but overall I think it is well made and enjoyable if you want something different in the shmup genre. And certainly I think that's going to be different every time because the enemy patterns are not going to be the same because they're randomized. So I'm not sure there's any other real roguelike stuff to it. Like obviously when you're in a different set of missions for each of the planets, that's going to be somewhat randomized, but I think certainly it could use perhaps a more overarching, like, hey, do an entire run of all, because these stages aren't that long. Like you're looking at, you know, like 4 or 5 minutes per stage, depending on the amount of enemies. So I think an option to have an entire run, you know, at the same time, or, you know, being able to save obviously, but having a whole run where you don't lose all your upgrades could be compelling. But hey, perhaps I'm just reading it wrong. I don't know. Not really sure. But yeah, I keep overheating here because I'm an idiot. Clearly I am too stupid. So yeah, you've got a variety of guns and rockets and different classes that have different stuff. The upgrades will play in different ways, and I do enjoy that because it leans towards having, you know, more of a strategy. That guy's critically damaged, and we will attempt to survive this. All my ships are not doing great here, and I got more of these big assholes to fight, and that's going to be problematic, if nothing else. Problematic. Fucking shields and asteroids and shit. So certain asteroids will explode, like these ones here, and there are ones that are more blue, and those ones will give you money. But it's never enough money. Like it never seems particularly worth shooting the blue ones and risking yourself overheating before the next set of enemies come to just get that, like, you know, $10, $15. It's just not worth it. Like these. It's just not really worth. Ooh, 25. You know, 25. Fantastic. Like, you're just not getting enough money to make that a worthwhile choice to overheat your ship. So that's unfortunate. So let's see if we can take out this clown of a ship. Oh, god damn it! Switch. So there is a cooldown in between ships. Like when you switch, you can't immediately switch right back. So this guy here, he's shooting enemies out his ass, and it's just making it more problematic for me to actually finish this stage. Is the issue here, and that's been a complaint, at least with me. Like, I'm certainly it is part of the design. It's just I don't particularly care for it. But yeah, the movement and the shooting feel good once you adjust. So when I first started, I was like, this is terrible, I hate it. But once you adjust to how the directional stuff is supposed to play out, then it becomes, you kind of get into that zone, and you know, can get a good feel for it. So I don't mind it as much now, having played about 2 hours of it. Like I can see myself. I can see where you get better at it. Like I get that part. But I'm also just getting I fucking lost the goddamn ship there. Lost the ship, and this asshole's gonna just keep on shooting more ships out of his ass. I'm just gonna keep on getting hit here because it's bullshit, and that stuff. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Alright, can we manage to survive this? Probably not. I've got no other things. He still has a shield, and he's still firing his bullshit, and he's still regenerating his goddamn shield, and giving more enemies out of his ass to attack me. And it's like, look, I just want to finish the stage. I just want to finish the stage. Like, why would I even shoot them? What is even the point of shooting them if they're just gonna fucking shoot more at me? And then more asteroids, so that just makes this whole thing more difficult. Damn it! Now I'm back to this fucking shotgun. Alright. Come on. Come on, boy. Let's take care of you. No, he's just giving me more things to deal with. Which, you know, would eventually give you a higher score, I suppose, but when you're just trying to finish the stage. Now, the one thing I will say about the asteroids is that enemies will knock into them and get hurt and die, and that is super satisfying, but not satisfying enough when you have to think about, you know, they do so much damage to your player. And I just fucked up again. Just fucked up again. Overheating to the max. I just wasted that. Just wasted it. Just get rid of your fucking shield, you clown. Shoes. Shit. He's almost dead, but he's gonna keep on spawning more guys at me, and it's just never gonna end, because I don't have the skill required to take him out. Come on, big boy. Come on, big boy, come back. There we go. Now we can finish this fucking stage. Holy shit. Got 3 more little assholes to deal with. Hopefully I don't get shot or hit into an asteroid, and then we can be done. You... Oh, at last minute I lost one. So, now we see the consequence of this. I lost 3 ships. I'm not sure what requires you to get the promotion. The game hasn't been super clear on that. But we're getting close to the end of this stage here. And I've hit a checkpoint, and that's important. But right now, I got 3 grand here. So here's the thing. If I go into the fighter bay here, I have to buy ships. And ships can cost 450, 500, and 650. These are the bigger ships I particularly don't care for. And obviously there are more that I don't have yet because I'm not far enough into the game. But we're not going to do this right now. We're going to back out. We're going to head here. We're going to save and exit. You can see that there are 5 areas. I'm only in the second, and you can see how hard it's getting just in the second area. But also, additionally, there is a high score mode called Survival. So I'm going to head onto the base area here on Survival just for a little bit. You can see here, I'm just going to just very quickly buy some stuff, buy some stuff, buy some stuff, buy some stuff, buy some stuff. This is just going to be procedurally generated and ongoingly more and more difficult the longer you play it, because it is set up to be a high score type deal. So what I'm going to do here, just you've already seen the base gameplay here, so I'm not going to get into too much more of that. So I'm just going to immediately die here, and then show the high score screen, and then be done with that. So just give me a moment here to die. All right, so here is how the big ships look, and they've got different stuff on their own here. You can do a flamethrower, which the flamethrower it overheats way too fast, but it does damage the enemies even when you're not shooting them, which is super useful. So it is definitely a trade-off in risk reward. And there we go. We have died out here, but I can go look at the high scores here and see that I am number 7 out of 9, because like no one has got this game yet, because it's, you know, still in beta, and they're sending out to people on YouTube to go play the game and give their ideas and thoughts on it, which I have done in this video. So this is Xenoraid. It's going to be out in a few months. I think certainly the core of the gameplay here is promising. I think there are a few things that perhaps might be addressed before it comes out. But if you're looking for a shmup that is just a little bit different than ones you've played, then certainly check out Xenoraid when it comes out. And I'll probably have more videos soon as I either go for high scores in survival or attempt to get farther in the main campaign of the game. So, that being said, this was the gameplay preview. I'm attackslug. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Every day more videos right here on this channel, and I'm out.